Hi, my name is Kylie and I'm here to share with you what I've personally achieved and the things that I've noticed in myself with my own person and my own relationships since starting to practice Ho'oponopono 6 years ago. So I'm going to go through a bit of a list and talk to you about what it is that I've actually noticed. The first obvious thing that I've noticed is that I've lost 15 kilos. Still got a little ways to go, still got 5 kilos to go, but I'm starting to see the next step, starting to see the next phase of healing with that. And it is a journey. It is absolutely a journey with emotional eating and the fat that I was holding on to. Now I can see the next step coming to the surface now, and the next phase of the last sort of 5 kilos coming off very soon, which I'm very excited about. I'll keep you guys posted on that one. One of the biggest things I've noticed with that weight loss, two of the biggest things is, a lot of the loss around my throat area, around my chin, around my neck. That's a lot to do with your throat chakra, so it's to do with communication. And with that, I've also noticed, in fact, probably before that, I've noticed that I felt a lot more comfortable with expressing myself. So there was a lot of fear there, likely from past lives and definitely from childhood, where I felt afraid to express how I felt, what I thought, what my truth was. There was a lot of fear that had been created around the events that happened when I did express myself. And that created an enormous amount of fat around my throat area, a lot of blockage, a lot of swelling, a lot of inflammation, most of which has started to move off. A little bit still there, but we're still working on that, and I can see that, and I'm starting to work on those things as well. I've noticed that I've started to write my blogs. I've started to get myself back out there with these videos as well. So my self-expression is starting to open up again, which is very exciting. The other really big thing with the weight loss is my belly fat. I'm still blown away when I stand in front of the mirror and I go, I'm feeling a little bit heavy, and I look in the mirror and I go, nah, it's not there. The belly fat is gone, flat belly. The only other time in my life I've been able to achieve a flat belly is by doing massive amounts of workouts. Like I'm talking like an hour and a bit, every second day at the gym, and I mean hardcore workouts, not just your simple ones. And I mean, that's great for someone who's got the time and the energy to do that, but and a very, very strict diet, by the way, a very staple diet I had back then as well. Yeah, I lost the weight, but it wasn't sustainable because it's just, we have busy lives and it's not possible to be able to do that level of working out. I was a lot younger then too, less likely to have injuries. So, this method of actually dealing with what's behind the fat is the best way to sustain the weight loss. And to be fit and healthy at the same time, but to sustain that weight loss without having to do ridiculous amounts of exercise. So that's the first thing I've noticed. The second one is no more depression. For for as long as I can remember, but definitely since my divorce, there's been this air. I think it was there before, but I just didn't notice it as obviously. This sort of cloud over me, this cloud of depression, and it would come hard and heavy. And of course it would pull me down, it would stop me from wanting to do anything. It's gone. It really has gone. Like particularly the last 6 months, I've been able to just lift that depression, and it never gets to the spot where I get to depression. Now, depression is just suppressed anger. So if you don't deal with your anger when your anger comes up, and you try to squish it down, eventually there will be depression because you haven't dealt with it. These days, when I start to feel upset, I start to feel anxious, I start to feel worried, I start to feel angry about something, frustrated, or disempowered, I deal with it. Okay, I do the Ho'oponopono, which is what I teach obviously in the Ho'oponopono course, in the healing therapy, and there's many other things I teach as well, but that's the primary thing that we teach. And I deal with it as it comes up, so it doesn't turn into depression. I don't end up with that really heavy, horrible feeling that just pulls you down and stops you from being able to really function and do anything. So the no more depression has been a really big thing that I've noticed for myself. I did have a very specific nasty physical ailment that went on for, well, particularly went on for several years, but it had been lingering there all the time, but just was coming and going. But it had been quite prominent for the last, for about a year and a half there recently. And it was really debilitating. It made me, when it would flare up, it would make me feel like I just could not participate in life. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't be active. I couldn't be happy. I couldn't feel happy. I couldn't feel free to do what I would normally do. I'd feel very trapped, very sad, very depressed. But it has finally lifted, and it's a really big deal. And every physical ailment starts from a subconscious thought, okay, a subconscious programming. So I would have had to release those things before the physical ailment could be shifted. So it's a really exciting one. More than happy to share that in private conversations. If you come to the course, I'm more than happy to share exactly what that was and give you more detail about how I dealt with that as well. Emotional eating, I mean, that comes with the weight loss obviously, but you notice you attach to certain things that you absolutely must eat this or drink this or take that, and when you start to work on the issues that are behind that emotional eating, why you're reaching for that specific thing, and every single thing you're addicted to has a programming behind it, has a code behind it, so you can decipher the exact code that is going on in your subconscious that you're unaware of just by looking at the specific things that you're eating. So if you say to me, I eat chocolate bars, I go, well, which sort of chocolate bars do you actually eat? Okay, do you eat Mars bars? Do you eat Snickers? Do you eat Cherry Ripes? It's going to give me a different code. They're all going to have a different code because you're putting in different ingredients, okay? Different tastes, different textures. Something's really crunchy, like a crunchy, or whether it's something that's really soft and smooth or mushy. And that's going to give me a lot more information about what the actual coding is, what the actual program is, and you can home in on exactly what your programming is, what's going on in your subconscious, and then you can shift it using Ho'oponopono, which is really exciting. Helped friends, family and clients. I mean, that's been such a big thing. With every single Ho'oponopono treatment that I do on myself, which is pretty much daily now, I will sit there, I'll meditate on what it is that's coming up for me. Okay, if I haven't actually got a client scheduled in, or if I've got a client scheduled in, obviously I'll be working on them. But I'll work on what's coming up for me, and I'll go, okay, this is the program that's coming up. All right, who else is it coming up for? And I start with my nearest and dearest and work my way out, okay? So I start with the people that are right in front of me, that are in my everyday life, and then start to work on people that I care about that are further away from my day-to-day life, and then home in on somebody that I know also has that programming. And you don't usually have to go very far to find somebody that has the same programming as you. Usually only 2 or 3 people and bingo, you found it. So And those people have started to notice, those who I have been in contact with have started to notice changes around that area as well. So that's really exciting. Toxic relationships. A few years ago, I definitely had, when I was the 15 kilograms heavier, that was really only a year and a bit ago actually, I had a lot of extremely toxic relationships, some of which I wasn't even aware of at the time. I didn't realise how toxic they were until I could step out of them and see them for what they really were. And through the work of Ho'oponopono, through the healing, I was able to let go of those toxic relationships. And to be able to let go of them, you actually have to let go of the fear of being without them, okay? We engage in these toxic relationships because we're too afraid to be alone. We're too afraid to step outside of that and go without the safety and security and belonging that we are experiencing with these particular relationships. Okay, so it's and one thing I do say to people who are thinking about having a long-term love relationship, I say, have you been alone? Have you done the yards on your own? Have you done at least 6 months living alone by yourself, not having anybody in your bed at night, not having a partner on the side or anything like that, just being completely alone and being comfortable with that and loving yourself and nurturing yourself and being completely sustained and satisfied and comfortable in that relationship with yourself. That's what you want to do before you work on a love relationship anyway. And that's what you want to do with all your relationships. You want to be able to stand on your own and feel comfortable without having those people around you, because you are your own safety, you are your own security. and there's a lot of programs around that you can work on in Ho'oponopono, and I've been able to do that. I've been able to let go of the toxic relationships and not hold on to them just for the sake of feeling safe. Okay, the safety comes from within, so that's really exciting as well. Better sleep. Definitely a year and a half ago I was having dreadful sleep. I'd be awake for at least 4 hours a night, waking and falling asleep again, and all over the place, and obviously super tired and lacking energy during the day, and because I was so heavy, it was just this vicious cycle. You know, you eat more because you feel like you haven't got enough energy, and then it just goes around and around in circles over and over again. So yeah, that was fun. But now the sleep is definitely settled. I do still wake a little bit because of some perimenopausal things going on that I'm still working on, because of course that comes in waves as well. And it's really a matter of what you're going to focus on. You know, there's so many different things you could focus on. I just haven't put a lot of emphasis on the perimenopausal stuff, so it's sort of sitting there at the moment. But there are some very specific programs around perimenopause that you can actually work on to actually shift all of that. Okay, and one of them's a very ancient and very past life-ish. And it's in a lot of tribes, a lot of things from way back. If you were no longer able to conceive and have children, you were thrown out of the tribe. You were regarded as somebody who was of no use anymore. So there could actually be some ancient programming in your subconscious that is like, if I can't hold on to this whole having periods thing and this whole menstruation thing, I'm going to be killed. I'm going to be sent out of the tribe. I'm no longer going to belong. And so you hold on to it for dear life, which is the hot flushes. The hot flushes are actually trying to prevent that process of stopping the ovulation. Okay, so it's kind of an interesting little side fact there. Anyway, that's something for later. But yeah, a lot of the other perimenopausal symptoms have shifted because I've been working on some of those other ones as well. A lot more balance. Things have calmed down a lot. I'm not sort of sweeping into way too much and then not enough. I've got more balance with my time, with my work-life balance, with my food, with my eating. I'm definitely balancing a lot more with that, obviously, with the emotional eating. Still a little ways to go, but definitely working on it for sure. Started writing, I've already talked about that. Self-love, better eating, more energy, self-care, more active, stronger, less visits to the doctor. That's all happening as well. So, you know, you notice all these things. You feel like you have more energy. You love yourself more. You know, you can see the self-love coming through on many different levels. And you start to have Ho'oponopono as a ready tool for any moment in time. You know, whatever it is that you've got, fear, anger, depression, stress, worry, doesn't matter what you've got coming up, you can knock it on the head as soon as it comes up. Instead of having it linger there and then eating it or smoking it or drinking it or taking some other drug or becoming OCD about something or over the top with something, being addicted to work or something like that so that you don't have to deal with it. So all of that starts to disappear and you start to get a lot more control over what's going on in your life. So I've noticed that as well. So I hope that's giving you a little bit of insight into what I've been able to shift over the past 6 years. I'm definitely still on a journey, and that journey will continue for quite a long time. Every time I meet you guys, I'm learning something. I'm humbled by your stories and by what you're prepared to look at, what you're prepared to heal. I find that really amazing. I'm really looking forward to meeting you guys at the next course. And please do message me with whatever it is that you're dealing with at the moment. If you want to have a chat about what Ho'oponopono might be able to do for you, or if you've got a really specific question, you're quite welcome to ask me that as well. Go to the website humanhappiness.com.au. You can sign up for the course right there and then. You can read some more about it, all the other stuff that I do, and hopefully see you very soon at one of the courses so we can really get on top of this and start moving forward with your healing journey, with the next stage of your healing journey most likely. So until then, look after yourself and bye for now.